Good. Oh, that's not a good start. Let me blow me up to full size. There you are. Good morning, everyone. How the devil are you doing this fine day? I've been playing around in the background, so I scaled myself down. All will become clear in a moment. Alex Latham is here saying, morning all. Morning, Alex. Are you wearing a cowboy hat? A cowboy hat in this industry? Surely not. Gary Muirhead says, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday indeed. Well, we made it to the end of the week then. Yes, it was touch and go for a while there. Touch and go, but we made it. We made it. Look, the reason I've been playing around in the background, for those of you that are into football, you will be aware that the World Cup starts next week. For those of you that aren't into football, we've got our own. I'm going to say good morning to Jim Turner, first of all. Morning, Jim. Thank you for being here. Yes, if you remember back, and I'm fairly sure this must be 4 years ago, we did the Excavator World Cup as part of this show, in which we got you to vote for your favourite brand of excavator, and we ended up with an eventual winner. Well, to coincide with the World Cup, which commences in a couple of days' time, we are going to be doing the mini Excavator World Cup. It's not the most original idea I've ever come up with, but I've already done the draw, but basically because the draw last time was so dreadfully boring. And I can tell you, we have some great matches in the first round. I can tell you, and I realise that's not particularly easy to read, particularly if you're looking at it on a mobile device. But I've got to get 24 teams in, so trust me, it's the best I could do. Opening round: Bobcat take on Hitachi, Hyundai take on Kubota, Kobelco take on Caterpillar, XCMG and New Holland. Mechalak and Case, Volvo take on Shantway, Develon pitted against Kato, John Deere take on Wacker Neuson, Takuchi take on Eurocomac, Lugong versus JCB, Komatsu versus Sony Sani rather, and Yanmar versus Sunward. 24 teams, and we will end up with an eventual winner. Now, I'm hoping that the poll facility that we have on this show is going to play ball, but if it doesn't, I will just count them manually. So basically the way this will work, starting next week, starting on Monday, we will be doing the first match. First match will be Bobcat versus Hitachi. I will ask you to vote whether you were spending your own money and you had to choose a mini excavator. Would you choose a Bobcat or would you choose a Hitachi? We will count those up, and at the end of it, the winner will go through to the next round, and the loser will go home with their tail between their legs. Gary says, is Pale Job in there? Pale Job is not in there. I've gone for current manufacturers. I even though I've come up with 24, I do have a horrible feeling that I've missed somebody very, very obvious. I don't know who that is. I mean, obviously, the Takuchis, the Kubotas, the Yanmars are front and center. Bobcat's in there, Hitachi, JCB, Komatsu. I do have a really, really horrible feeling that when we start, somebody's going to say, you do realise you've missed, and then I'll be kicking myself. Yeah. Gary Muirhead saying, nice hat. Is that the Bobcat? Yes, it is the Bobcat. I was wearing this yesterday, actually. But yes, it is. I have to say, not great for sunny weather because it's furry and corduroy, but for today, where it's quite chilly, it's quite cool, should I say. That's what we're doing. Morning all, happy Friday. Finally made it. Nigel Williams, you are always welcome in our midst. Mark Whiting is here as well. Good morning, my fellow members of Undiscovered Ordnance. Will your day do with a bang? Go with a bang. Wow, will your day go with a bang? Yeah, many moons ago, Guy works, he was a former NFDC CEO, Duncan Riddell. He was working down in Bristol and discovered some unexploded ordnance. So I got him a Danger UXB high-vis for an ID event. I don't suppose he's still got it. Nigel Williams, yes. Sony, I mean, come on. You'd think I'd know, wouldn't you? And Stefan Edwards is here, almost certainly from the Netherlands. He travels. It's hard to say, but he's here as well. Good morning to you one and all. So yes, Mini Excavator World Cup next week. Looking forward to starting that. Not as much as I'm looking forward to the actual World Cup, but looking forward to it nonetheless. I've got a funny feeling I know where it's going to go. But last time around, it was utterly unpredictable. So we shall see. We shall see. I know what my personal winner would be. Not that I operate many excavators, but it'll be interesting to see if my prediction. I may even put my prediction in a sealed envelope, and to see if I've guessed correct. Mercy Johnston is here as well. Good morning to you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed for being here. It is that time. It is time to roll the intro and get whatever this show is on the road. So let's have a bit of this. It's just as well we don't penalise latecomers, isn't it? Ken Hatter has just arrived, bringing with him Cloud, and Dan Cullen has arrived as well, bringing him with him a message that says, Happy chappy plant porn addicts. Thank you very much indeed. Are you attending the EDA convention in Dublin next week? I am not, I'm afraid. No, I'm not. The absolute truth, Stefan, is... I've kind of lost faith in conventions, if I'm being completely honest. And the EDA and KHL, which is a publishing company, are a bit too closely associated for my liking. So no. Is the long and the short answer to that is no, I'm not. I hope it's a huge success. Will I regret not being there? Not really. I'm just conventions and conferences, and I mean to a degree even exhibitions, but mainly conferences and conventions. It's all become a bit of a dick measuring contest. I mean, I do think the IDE has got the mix right. I think theirs are far more educational, but people standing up. I did this job, aren't I clever? Yeah, I did this job, aren't I clever? Don't care at all. Another day, another bell day, living the dream and laughing at the nightmare. Keep that going, Dan, would you? Yes, it is Friday. It is Friday the 5th of June. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the walrus of demolition, the Lord High Chancellor of live streaming, the authentic voice of the global demolition industry. In today's show, Bobcat tracks out a new loader ahead of its Hillhead debut. We've got a sneak preview of this. A deep dive into Komatsu's astonishing WA700-8 wheel loader. We've got an excavator that offers power, plus, you'll see what I did there in a moment. And we're taking a walk around the latest compact excavator from Case. And in today's episode of Mark's Morning Monologue, the pundits of pessimism. Why equipment operators, and I'm looking at some of you, why equipment operators are never satisfied. Yes. That's two people who've asked you to go to Dublin, Mark. Yeah, I know. It was Yvonne Waterman yesterday, and now Stefan. Listen, I've got my diaries full next week anyway, so I couldn't go even if I had a sudden change of heart. But when you think about what I do, and when you think about the format for conferences, bloke or woman stands up, holds court for 20 minutes, then sits down, and somebody else get. Where's the value in that? Well, I mean, if I recorded it and put it on this show, would anyone care? Would anyone watch? Just not that interested, to be honest. Anyone seen the new series of Clarkson Farm yet? Automated tech is getting very, very clever. I have not seen the new series, although I am a huge fan, so I will be catching up with that at some point in the not too distant. We're going to start today with a bit of cat, and then we're going to go over to a bit of Bobcat. It's not like I planned it. It just occurred to me. Let's start with Caterpillar, and then I'm going to show you this brand new track loader from Bobcat. I'll get to the Bobcat in just a moment, but we need to talk unexploded ordnance. Jim Turner says, when the old fellow worked for Dyke or Gaylords, one of their shovel drivers found an unexploded bomb in a quarry, hooked on the tooth. So the fellow traipsed up the cut, up out to the site office with it to tell the site manager. When the bomb squad showed up, they wanted it back down the hole, but the driver bricked it and wouldn't go near it. Dopey sod. Isn't that kind of a scene in Hot Fuzz where the guy's got a mine in his shed? Do anyone remember that? Particular favourite film of mine, that is. Right, so we were in the Czech Republic 2 weeks ago now with the fine folks at Bobcat looking at some of their new products, one of which is due to make its official debut at Hillhead in just a few weeks' time. But we did get a sneak preview. This is the Bobcat T650, and it's pretty damn special. Bobcat must be the world leaders in the skid steer market. They do make a really good machine. They are far and away the leader in the skid steer market. No question about it. They are the kings of skid steers. Amazing kit. Absolutely 100%. Dan, also going back on Hot Fuzz. It was a great film. Yeah, it really is. I lean towards Shaun of the Dead, which I think is an absolute movie classic, but Hot Fuzz makes me laugh every single time. Mercy says, the site investigation bombs guys are not much recognised in the industry, but are a part of it. Why is that? I think it's one of those things. It's a bit like insurance companies. You kind of pay them and you don't take much notice of them until you need them. The moment you need the insurance company or the site investigation team to deal with a bit of unexploded ordnance, all of a sudden they become the most valuable member of your team. Weird that, right? Jim Turner says, we watched the first couple of episodes of Clarkson's Farm last night. I think the automated stuff is in the next episode. I think it's the manufacturer I follow on YouTube. It's a great tool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'll be catching up with that maybe over the weekend. We shall see. Don't think the weather's looking particularly good, so maybe an opportunity to do that. We've got a longer film for you in a moment, and it's a longer film for good reason. We're going to focus on the WA700-8 wheel loader from the fine folks at Komatsu, and it's quite a beast, and it requires some proper attention. So we've got about a 9.5-minute film coming up after this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
I've kind of done the introduction. This is the WA700-8 in all its Komatsu glory.
Introducing the WA700-8 wheel loader, the latest addition to Komatsu's pit loader lineup. The WA700-8 is engineered to be the 4-pass match loading tool for the HD605, including other 70-ton class haul trucks, and is well suited to meet the demands of primary crushers with targets of 1,000 tons per hour. This optimized compatibility enhances operational productivity and streamlines material handling in high-volume applications. At the heart of the WA700-8 is a robust structural foundation featuring redesigned frames and linkage systems engineered for enhanced durability and extended service life. Both the front and rear frames have been developed with taller profiles and constructed from high tensile strength steel, reflecting Komatsu's ongoing commitment to long-term reliability. These improvements meet newly established evaluation criteria, enabling longer overhaul intervals and supporting multi-life performance across demanding applications. Powered by the Tier 4 final and EU Stage 5 compliant Komatsu SAA6 D170E-7 engine, the WA700 delivers an impressive 773 net horsepower and 2,513 foot-pounds of torque. This represents an 8% increase in horsepower and 15% boost in torque compared to the previous model, the WA700-3. This enhanced power output improves machine and work equipment speeds, while increasing tractive effort and penetration capability, making the WA700-8 the ideal choice for demanding rock face operations. To meet stringent emission standards, the WA700-8 utilizes a dual diesel particulate filter system, achieving compliance without the need for diesel exhaust fluid. Equipped with advanced engine control logic, Komatsu's Smart Loader Logic modulates torque output to match real-time operational demands. This ensures optimal torque delivery when required, supporting high production efficiency while minimizing fuel consumption during less demanding applications. The WA700-8 features a larger, more productive powertrain, built with major components that have been proven in Komatsu's larger models, the WA800 and WA900. By leveraging these reliable, field-proven components, the WA700-8 benefits from enhanced durability, extended component life, and longer maintenance intervals, delivering consistent performance and reduced operating costs. To further enhance efficiency across different applications, the WA700-8 is equipped with a high-capacity torque converter featuring lockup functionality. This high-output system delivers exceptional tractive effort, enabling high performance in V-shaped loading scenarios. The lockup feature facilitates direct drive engagement, resulting in higher travel speeds and improved fuel efficiency, particularly in load and carry applications. This robust feature set makes the WA700-8 the right choice solution for demanding job site conditions. New productivity features for the WA700-8 include newly equipped throttle lock with auto deceleration that enhances productivity by providing quick and responsive work equipment speeds during active use, while conserving fuel by automatically lowering engine RPM when idle. A newly adopted modulation clutch enhances operational efficiency by reducing shock during directional gear changes. This results in smoother directional transitions and more controlled approaches when positioning for truck loading. By supporting shorter cycle times and improving material placement accuracy, the system helps deliver increased productivity and reduced wear on drivetrain components. A variable traction control dial allows operators to adjust rim pull to suit underfoot conditions, helping to minimize slippage on loose or slippery surfaces. This not only extends tire life, but also reduces the likelihood of cuts or damage. The closed-center load-sensing hydraulic system maintains fast work equipment speeds, helps regulate hydraulic oil temperatures, and contributes to improved fuel efficiency. Combined with its superior breakout and lifting forces, these enhancements deliver a 20% increase in productivity when compared to the previous model. The WA700-8 introduces new automation features, including automatic dig, semi-automatic approach, and semi-automatic dump functions. When activated, these systems enable efficient V-cycle loading with minimal operator input to the work equipment controls. By reducing manual operation, these assist functions allow the operator to focus on the loader's travel path, improving overall productivity while significantly reducing operator fatigue. The WA700-8 is equipped with a newly designed low-noise pillarless windshield cab that enhances visibility and operator comfort. A premium air suspension seat featuring integrated heating and ventilation provides a smoother, more ergonomic ride. The electronic pilot control lever console and advanced joystick steering lever are seamlessly integrated into the seat assembly, moving in unison to maintain optimal positioning and ease of use. A standard electronically controlled suspension system further improves ride quality by minimizing vibration and reducing material spillage during operation. The cab also includes a high-resolution 7-inch color LCD monitor that displays critical machine information and allows operators to adjust various settings with ease. For training and supervision purposes, a full-size foldable trainer seat is provided as standard to the left of the operator's seat. ComVision is standard on the WA700-8, offering a 6-camera system that delivers a comprehensive bird's-eye view of the machine's surroundings. This advanced visual aid significantly enhances operator awareness and situational visibility, promoting zero harm and a more efficient operation. A dedicated ComVision monitor, positioned on the right-hand side of the cab, allows the operator to select and display individual camera views using conveniently located switches on the adjacent control panel. Operator accessibility is enhanced through dual 45-degree slip-resistant stairways positioned on both the left and right sides of the machine. A surrounding walkway provides convenient access around the cab and platform area, supporting safer movement during daily inspection and maintenance. For added convenience, an optional power boarding ladder is available to further improve ease of entry and exit from the machine. The WA700-8 is engineered with a range of features that enhance service accessibility and streamline maintenance. Anchor points positioned near key service areas allow technicians to securely attach lanyards, while large swing-out access panels provide ample access to service bays. Large, deep steps located on both sides of the frame further provide convenient access to the engine compartment. To reduce service time, oil, fuel, and KCCV filters are placed in a centralized location with standard LED bay lighting to reduce service time and improve visibility during maintenance tasks. Ground-level service features include immobilization and emergency stop switches, along with battery and starter isolators equipped with lockout-tagout capability, all positioned at primary ingress and egress points. A swing-out reversible hydraulic fan offers clear access to the wide-core cooling package, making cleaning and inspection more efficient. A ground-level service center provides convenient access to drain and fill ports for the transmission, hydraulic system, engine oil, and coolant, as well as Komatsu oil wear analysis sampling ports for fluid monitoring. Standard auto lubrication delivers consistent component lubrication at adjustable intervals, and when combined with a standard fast fuel fueling system, helps reduce service touchpoints and minimize downtime. The WA700-8 is engineered for reliable performance across all operating conditions. Its comprehensive lighting package includes 22 high-intensity LED work lamps, delivering exceptional visibility for the operator during low light and nighttime operations, enhancing safety, precision, and productivity around the clock. This concludes the WA700-8 sales walk-around video. For more information, contact your local sales representative or visit www.komatsu.com. Thank you for your interest in Komatsu.
Quite the machine, I think you'll agree. Gary Muirhead, going back a stage, says, I remember being given a talk on unexploded bombs on site. The guy was telling us that German bomb timers were like Swiss watches, could start operating years after being in the ground. That's German efficiency for you. Not always a good thing. Mercy's just said they're great men and women with a lot of stories to tell. I wonder if we could get an unexploded bomb or an unexploded ordnance person on the show. I could listen to that all day. Stick steering, obviously, was just in that on the Komatsu. Stick steering has now become the norm in these days, when it used to be an option years ago. Yes, it did. I've operated our Volvo L150 on site with it, and it's amazing. I'm glad you got to grips with it. I couldn't. First time I ever tried it, Cat 966, freaked me out. And I don't think it was the operation. I think it was the fact that I didn't have something to hold on to. You know, when you're driving an articulated wheel loader, you turn, it's kind of, you're kind of hanging onto the steering wheel. When you're doing it by stick, it's not the same. Not the same. Now, I'm about to give you an example of precisely the kind of thing I'm talking about in today's morning monologue, okay? So, Dan, on talking about the WA700, they've got some tech involved in that. I wonder how long it took to come up with all of that. But, and this is the bit that's interesting, but in later life, will these be troublesome with so many sensors? Operators have this inbuilt kind of a default pessimism setting, and that is precisely what I'm going to be talking about in today's morning monologue. Dan, I wouldn't say you've fallen into my trap because there was no trap, but you keyed me in beautifully. Stick around, I'll tell you more.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
We've had a recommendation. Try Mr. Steve Rimmer from 6 Alpha Bombs. By day, bombs by day, comedian at night, and a great manager. I'm going to track him down. Thank you very much indeed for that. And Dan says, I was reading your mind through the screen. I think you maybe were. Or that, either that or I'm completely predictable. We've got 2 films left for you, both of them featuring excavators. One big, one not so big. We're going to start with the big one. Looks like this.
When big jobs begin, the Power Plus PP 500E Mark 11 takes the lead on site. With an operating weight of 51 tons, it stays planted and stable under serious loads. A top-of-line Isuzu engine delivers 407 horsepower with fuel-efficient combustion, cutting fuel use while keeping power on tap. Advanced Kawasaki hydraulics give faster response and smooth multifunction control, shortening cycle times and saving energy with each action. A 3.6 cubic meter bucket moves more material per cycle, boosting output without wasting fuel. A soundproof, ergonomic cabin with pilot controls keeps the operator relaxed, accurate, and efficient through long shifts. Easy service access and a reinforced structure keep the PP 500E Mark 11 working longer, with less downtime on tough sites. The Power Plus PP 500E Mark 11. More power, work smarter.
Chris Ford, going back on the stick steer conversation, nothing wrong with stick steering on a loaded shovel. Better than the tiller steering that used to be on the cat shovels. Don't remember that. I'm not going to say it's before my time, but I think it was probably before my time. Let's have a look. We've got one more film. After this, just a quick reminder, Hillhead is almost upon us. We had a chat about the Power Plus. Jim Turner says, looks a bit like the Cat 200 series. I don't disagree with that at all. Wonder if Power Plus will make a debut in this country. So many brands out there that could and probably should, but they don't. And then Dan Cullen, very amused by the name. Hey, bud, what are you operating? Oh, I'm operating a Power Plus. A what? In this country, I think that would be the answer. We've got one final film for you, as I've already promised. It does feature Case. Case are in our Mini Excavator World Cup, which starts on Monday next week. They're not in the first round, but they're in the first round. They're not in the first match. The first match involving Case pits them against Mechalak. Yeah. Which way are you going to vote on that, I wonder? While you're thinking about that, let's have a look at this latest mini excavator from Case.
Hello everyone, I'm Umberto Celestini, Case Mini Excavators Product Manager, and welcome to a new walk around of our Case D-Series Mini Excavators lineup. CX55D is a short radius 5.4 ton excavator, equipped with a powerful 42.6 kilowatt engine. It's one of the 4 models in our D-Series range to feature a 2-piece boom, a characteristic that makes us clearly stand out from competition. Compared to the standard monoboom mounted on its sister model, CX50D, a 2-piece boom on this size provides 30% higher dumping height, 1.2 meter more, 10% longer horizontal reach, 700 millimeters more, 200 millimeter more digging depth, along with the ability to dig much closer to the machine thanks to the 2 hinge points geometry.
Yeah, Dan, I agree. It'll be like when Landcross are basically turned loose. What's a Landcross? Yeah, well, does anybody else still do this? Whenever I mention Develon, I always say, it's Develon, a Doosan. What is that, 3 and a bit years on? 3 and a bit years on, and I'm still having to clarify. How long before we drop the name Hitachi? I reckon it could be 2030 at the earliest. What's the story on voting on machines like you done last year? Yes, well, we are doing that. We are doing that very, very thing. As I say, I know it's not particularly easy to read, but we are doing the Mini Excavator World Cup starting on Monday. For those of you that arrived a wee bit late, I can tell you some of the highlights of the first round will be Bobcat taking on Hitachi, Hyundai against Kubota, Kobelco against Caterpillar, Develon versus Kato, Lugong versus JCB, Yanmar versus Sunward, Volvo versus Shantway. We're doing loads and loads and loads of those. It's going to take us about a month, I reckon, to get through all of those. Morning, Mark. I'm guessing this is Gary Major. A late starter. Nice to see Eurocomac excavators on the show, even if they're wearing case badges. Yeah, I have to admit, we've got in our Mini Excavator World Cup, I have featured Eurocomac as a standalone, and I've also featured Case. I don't suppose the two of them will ever come head to head, because that would be a bit null and void, but I have featured them both independently and kind of together. So bear that in mind. Dan, okay, cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Listen, I've already got my top probably 4. I reckon I've got the top 4. I have a personal feeling on which way it should go. I have a personal belief that there is one brand that just about edges the others, but it'll be very interesting. There's 24 teams or 24 manufacturers to start with, and we've got to whittle it down to 1. Be very interested to see which way you guys vote. Dan Cullen, with his usual, here's a question, and then keeps us waiting while he does the question. Has anyone operated the new Sumitomo yet? I haven't. Operated Case CX80 and wasn't impressed with it. Very poor, says Gary. Well, I think we know which way he's going to be voting when the time comes. Dan says, I've not seen one out in the wild. I wonder if they're going to be at Hillhead. I wonder. I'll look out for them when I'm running around trying to get it all done in a day. Anywho, people, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you again very soon. I'll be back on Monday. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I will be back immediately after this, and I'm going to warn you in advance. This one is kind of about you. You'll see. In the annals of British industrial history, few figures loom as large as Joseph Cyril Bamford. When he founded JCB in a small lock-up garage in Uttoxeter back in 1945, he brought more than just a welding torch and a collection of war surplus axles to the table. He brought a philosophy, and he encapsulated that relentless ethos in a favourite French phrase that became the official corporate guiding light. Jamais content. Never content. Never satisfied. For a manufacturer, that mindset is the ultimate driver of progress. It's an acknowledgement that complacency is the first step toward obsolescence. In the engineering office, being permanently unsatisfied is a noble virtue. It means that the moment a machine rolls off the production line, the team is already questioning how to make the next one lighter, safer, faster, stronger, and more efficient. It's the reason a company can grow from modifying agricultural trailers into a global powerhouse whose name is literally enshrined in the Oxford English Dictionary. Continuous improvement requires a healthy dose of professional dissatisfaction. When applied to research and development, Jamais content is an engine of innovation. It forces designers to obsess over hydraulic pressures, structural integrity, and ergonomic perfection. It means striving to reduce emissions, lower fuel consumption, and push the boundaries of what a piece of yellow iron can achieve on a modern job site. In an ideal world, this unrelenting pursuit of perfection would be met with universal acclaim from the people who actually buy and operate the machinery. But the construction industry is far from an ideal world. The great irony of modern equipment manufacture is that Jamais content has morphed and mutated. It's escaped the shiny research laboratories of Staffordshire and infected the hearts and minds of equipment owners, site managers, and even more so, operators across the land. However, where the manufacturer uses dissatisfaction as a catalyst for brilliance, the end user uses it as a default setting for relentless, unyielding whinging. A manufacturer spends millions of pounds and countless hours developing a brand new excavator or backhoe loader. The engineering team unveils a marvel of modern technology. The engine meets the most stringent environmental standards on Earth while delivering more torque than its predecessor. The cab is a masterpiece of ergonomics, boasting an air-conditioned environment quieter than a monastic library, a seat that adjusts to the operator's precise lumbar requirements, and full Bluetooth connectivity. It is, by any objective metric, the finest mobile office in all of Christendom. Yet the moment the machine arrives on site, the grand corporate philosophy of Jamais content is mirrored perfectly by the man in the high-vis jacket. The operator climbs into this high-tech sanctuary, looks around, and immediately lets out a heavy, world-weary sigh. The engine is a triumph of clean air technology. Brilliant. But someone will immediately moan about the AdBlue tank filler neck being positioned at a slightly awkward angle. The cab is blissfully quiet. Terrible news, because now they can hear every rattle of the loose change in their pocket. And besides, the new digital touchscreen is bound to get smudged by greasy fingers within 10 minutes. The obsession with minutiae on the modern site truly is a sight to behold. You can deliver a machine that represents a quantum leap forward in operator safety, featuring all-round camera systems that offer bird's-eye views of the working area, radar detection for pedestrians, and automatic braking functions. It's a vehicle designed to ensure every single person on site goes home safely at the end of the shift. And what's the feedback on the ground? I don't like the seatbelt. It matters not that the seatbelt is part of a sophisticated interlocking safety system designed to save their life in a rollover. To the seasoned critic, the webbing feels a fraction too stiff, or it's not quite the same as the one they had on their previous machine. The fact that the machine can practically dig a trench by itself is completely overshadowed by a deeply held personal grievance against a piece of nylon strap. The same tragicomedy plays out with cabin storage. Designers spend months packaging complex electrical architectures and climate control systems into the tight confines of the upper structure, managing to preserve a panoramic view of the bucket. They proudly announce a 20% increase in glass area for unparalleled visibility. The operator, however, climbs inside and discovers that while they have a flawless view of the deep trench they're digging, There's insufficient room behind the seat to store a massive, mud-encrusted duffel bag containing 3 spare coats, a 4-litre bottle of squash, and a lunchbox big enough to feed a family of 4. The verdict is swift and brutal. This machine is completely unworkable. This culture of permanent dissatisfaction becomes particularly scathing when manufacturers attempt to tackle the genuine, real-world issues of health, safety, and accessibility. Take the recent trend toward advanced access systems. Recognizing that slips, trips, and falls during ingress and egress remain one of the leading causes of sight injuries, manufacturers have begun designing beautifully engineered, retractable, low-level steps. These systems allow operators to step into the new machine safely, reducing strain on their knees and their ankles, and ensuring that those who might be less able-bodied can still operate safely and comfortably. To any rational observer, this is a magnificent advancement. To the hardened sight traditionalist, it's an open invitation for ridicule. That criticism splits into 2 equally pessimistic camps. The pragmatists will immediately declare that the retractable steps are just something else to smash off on day 2. They'll argue that the entire mechanism is far too clever for its own good and will inevitably fail the moment it encounters 3 inches of thick British clay. Meanwhile, the old-school philosophers will dismiss the steps as a definitive sign that the entire industry has gone soft. They'll look back wistfully to the days when climbing into a cab involved scaling a vertical wall of greasy steel lattice while holding a fag in one hand and a grease gun in the other. To them, ergonomics is a dirty word and comfort is a betrayal of the true, gritty nature of muck shifting. And perhaps the most contentious battleground in this war of perpetual dissatisfaction is the introduction of advanced driver aids and automation. Today's machines are packed with grade control systems, automatic bucket leveling functions, and payload monitoring systems that calculate the exact weight of every load to prevent overloading a dump truck. These tools are designed to maximize productivity, reduce wear and tear on the machine, and turn a decent operator into a highly efficient asset. While some forward-thinking fleet owners welcome these advancements with open arms, a vocal and deeply defensive contingent of operators views them with absolute disdain. To these individuals, a digital assistant is not a tool, it's a direct insult to their personal craftsmanship. They look at a grade control screen and see a machine trying to tell them how to do the job they've been doing by eye since the late 1980s. They'll deliberately turn the systems off, proudly proclaiming that they don't need a computer to tell them where the level is. Ultimately, Joe Bamford was entirely correct. A manufacturer must never be satisfied. They must continue to innovate, to push the boundaries, and to install the quietest cabs, the most efficient engines, and the smartest safety systems that modern engineering can devise. But they must also accept a harsh, unyielding truth. No matter how brilliant the machine, no matter how much thought has gone into the placement of every single switch and air vent, the industry will always be populated by people who view perfection as a personal challenge. The plant world has adopted jamais content as its official religion, but they've rewritten the gospel. For the manufacturer, it means their job is never done. For the operator, it means the moaning is never, ever finished. There you are. How to alienate your entire audience in one monologue, but there you are. That's my own personal feelings for the day. Let's. Are you doing predictions for 2026? Well, we are halfway through. Hardly seems worth it. Dan Cullen saying, "Who are you talking about? Me?" Well, a little bit. It's not. I promise you, it's not just you. It really is not just you. It's I've been on. I remember going bizarrely. I went to Didcot for the delivery long before the accident. Delivery of an excavator, and it was a big old lump in a proper job. I can't remember what make it was. Maybe the Komatsu. I can't remember. That doesn't matter. But I was looking at it thinking, Christ almighty, look at that. What a tool that is. And, you know, lots of us were all milling around, oh, look at that, a proper beast. And one bloke went up, nah, that won't last 5 minutes, that. Really? Yeah. Komatsu has been around for the best part of 100 years. Second biggest equipment manufacturer in the world. But you know better, do you? Really? Jim Turner says, first thing I do when I see our operating machine, I think of how I could change it to make it more efficient. Jim, you were the other prompter for that. But one thing with this is, I'll go back to that adage of you can't please all the people all the time. And I do think that's very relevant for this discussion. Yes, it would be lovely. It would be lovely if you could say to your boss, what I want a Cat 352, but I want the seat belt from a Devellon. I want the gearbox from a Hitachi. I want the hydraulic pump from an XCMG. I want the seat from a Volvo. All of those things would be fantastic. Oh, and I'm sure you would end up with the machine of your dreams. But I also reckon that sooner or later you'd go, well, that switch is in the wrong place. There's an air vent over there that's blowing cold air down my neck, giving me a bad back. Sooner or later, despite the fact that you'd spec'd it exactly what you wanted, you'd still find something. You'd still manage to find something. Gary Muirhead says, if Jim Turner went into production of construction equipment, he could call them not JCB, but BJT, Big Jim Turner Equipment Company. I look forward to the day. Yep, so true. I find only certain brands that get my... listen, I'm the same. You know, we own, as a family, we own a car, but, you know, through travel and whatever, I tend to have hire cars and stuff. And sometimes you get in there and think, oh, I'd love one of these. And other times it's nothing major, but it's, that's not quite how I normally sit. And I feel like I'm sat at an angle and that's quite uncomfortable. And weird, how does the radio work? And the GPS, it's not the same as I get it. I do get it. But when you think about for example, think about the JCB 520X. Been in development for 3 or 4 years. It's been through design, redesign, perfected. It's gone out into the field with selected customers. They've taken that feedback and they've put that in as well. Hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of man hours have gone into producing the 520X. Millions of pounds will have been invested in making that machine as good as it possibly can be. And you know full well that one of those will arrive on site somewhere in the UK and the operator will go, nah, it's just our way, isn't it? Chris Ford says, Gary, if I went into machinery production, it would be called Fixo Repair Daily. Ford for sure. Oh, well done. Well done. I didn't see that coming at all. Chris, that's brilliant. Yeah, I totally agree. Very good monologue. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. I hope I didn't upset anyone with that. Those grumbles make up the first line of my brief these days. But we love a challenge. Yeah. Here's the point. I mean, this is Gary Major talking here. Gary obviously is a machine designer, done a lot of work with Lugon, for example. Imagine if Gary could, hire the Albert Hall. You know how machine designers go about hiring the Albert Hall. You hire the Albert Hall and you attract 1,500 excavator operators and you sit them down and you show them a completely blank screen and you say, we are about to design a brand new Lugon excavator in the 20-ton class. I'm making this up as I go along, in the 20-ton class. But rather than saying we listen to the operators, we are here to listen to the operators. On your chairs, there is an iPad that is linked to this screen. We would like you to write down all of the things that you believe are necessary to make our machine the best that it could possibly be. If you asked 1,500 operators that, my guess is you'd get 1,500 completely different answers, leaving Gary Major thinking, yeah, where do I begin? How do I go about accommodating 1,500 different levers, 1,500 different seats, 1,500 different windscreens, lunch boxes? Just you can't please all the people all the time. All you can do at the very best is play the averages. Even things like the seats. I know one of the criticisms early doors when the Japanese machines first started coming over was the fact that they were built for the Japanese, and the Japanese generally are a bit smaller than us. So you'd get an excavator, particularly a mini excavator, that was dead suitable for a little Japanese guy, and you put a 20-stone British operator on it, and his arse is actually hanging out the door. But when you think about it, when you think about the way that the machine designers have to operate, they have to accommodate tiny little Japanese person, massive great American person, and all points in between. They are playing the averages, and it's the best that they can possibly do. I'm same as you, Jim. I look at it and think of different things like a bell seat, a proper hysterectomy pump. Hysterectomy pump? Is that a hydraulic pump? That may be the best company we've ever. I tell you what, if Bell are fitting hysterectomy pumps, wow. And more dig out force. Wow. Jim Turner says that is exactly what a manufacturer needs to do. Keep the masses happy by taking the best bits from the other manufacturers whilst also making a machine more efficient, not too expensive compared to the opposition. There you are. Gary says it is horses for courses. You've only got to listen to this. As far as I'm concerned, if I had to sit here and pick the top 5 excavator manufacturers in the world, I would definitely 100% put Hitachi in that top 5. Dan Cullen wouldn't. He's not a fan. It's a horses for courses. I'm not saying I'm right, and I'm certainly not saying Dan is wrong. It is a horses for courses. That's exactly what it is. And also bring out something that other firms aren't making. I'm still waiting for JCB to call so we can start this process. Think about this, Jim. Just carrying on with this conversation. I know you're enthusiastic about this. I know you're passionate about it. I know it kind of invades your every waking hour. But imagine, right, you get the call. You get a phone call from JCB and they said, the time is right. Jim, it is time for you to take your place among the masses here at JCB, and you come up with a new machine. I don't know what it is, but you come up with a brand new machine. And it goes through all of the iterative testing. You then put it out in the field with selected customers. You take their feedback and you refine and you hone and you perfect, and you end up with a machine, the Jim Turner wheel loader, for example. It is your life's work. You've done nothing but that for the past 3 years, and you hand the keys to an operator, and the operator goes, yeah. Imagine what a kick in the balls that must be. Can you imagine? Listen, I don't put quite so much work into it, but there are times when I do my morning monologues or I write an article and I think, yes, that's it. My spelling and grammar is on point. I have truly captured the zeitgeist. I'm going to put this onto LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it might be, or I'm going to do it on the Breakfast Show, and this will mark me as the standout mind in this industry, and I deliver it, and it goes, and the industry goes, yeah. Oh man, it's not just a kick in the balls; it is repeated kicks in the balls. Used to be on a 24-ton Komatsu with a thrupney bit cab on with a sliding door. Must have been designed around a little fella. Had to have the door open all the time, and a wet leg when it rained. Yeah, it's true. Well, wet legs were part of not the band, obviously. The wet legs were de rigueur back in the day, weren't they? When you had canopies rather than cabs. Andy Thornton says, I worked with the NHS for years, never heard of a hysterectomy pump. It sounds awful. I'm gonna guess that he means hydraulic pump. Gary says, Jim, they would be absolutely crazy if they weren't going to get in contact with you and pick your brains to make improvements. I've dropped your name a lot. I've dropped your name a lot, and I will continue to do so. I would love to sit down with Hitachi, Hyundai, and other manufacturers to talk about their kit. Well, Hillhead is a good opportunity. The only problem with that is, and I've said this before, the problem with exhibitions as a way to make your feelings felt among the manufacturers is the manufacturers are there primarily to sell. The people that are manning the stand are generally salespeople or marketing people. They're not the designers by and large. You need to kind of go above and beyond them. But Jim, I know you're planning to go to Hillhead. Come with me. Let's go to JCB. See if we can find Richard Brooks, and I'll do the introduction. And you can bend his ear roll until you or he is blue in the face. Was that the PC 138, Jim? Horrible cab. Yeah. What the early ones were, rusted like a swine, uncomfortable as all hell. But they were working with what they had, I guess. Wouldn't bother me at all. I just asked them to bring another machines that could move as much gear as for the same amount of money. If they beat my machine, I'd gladly tip my hat to them, but my money would be on my machine. Wow, there you are. Peter McKenna, who is writing the world in one HGV driver at a time, but he's back with us over from LinkedIn. Morning, Peter. Good to see you. Too many people at these shows that don't listen. As I say, they're the wrong people. As I say, the people that are at Hillhead are there to sell machines, not to listen to petty gripes from operators. You've got to bypass them. You've got to get to the design people and the innovators. Dan, I don't think they would enjoy the sit-down meet as much as you would, pal, as you love to tell the truth, warts and all. Yeah, I do wonder. Gary would probably be a better place to answer this. I do wonder just how isolated from feedback those design teams actually are, because we've said this before. All of the major manufacturers have this system where they produce effectively a prototype, but a properly working prototype, and they send it out, and it goes out to half a dozen, 20 existing customers, and they go with existing customers because they get them to sign an NDA so they don't tell anyone about this top secret new machine they've got. And I understand that. But if you are JCB, for example, and you're giving your prototype machine to an existing JCB customer, or if you're a Caterpillar and you're giving your new prototype purely to Caterpillar customers, how honest is the feedback you're receiving, I wonder? Is it, as Gary just called it, warts and all, or is it, well, I'm a big fan of JCB. I love everything about it. I'd move that switch, but apart from that, it's fine. Is that what they get? Peter McKenna says, I thought I'd drop you in to wish you all a fantastic weekend. Well, your timing is perfect because I'm about to call time on this episode of the show anyway. Bit of a thing next week. I'm here Monday, Tuesday. When is the 10th? I think it's the 11th I'm away. I'm away for one day. Not a big deal, but I'm away for one day. I'll keep you posted on that. I never presume that everyone likes me or my opinions or ideas. I don't seek validation from people. My tism means I'm not fussed or fazed by people. One of those rare occasions that having a tism actually works in your favor, I would say. Peter McKenna says, to make any changes in any industry, you either have to go directly to the top of the chain or work with the development teams. Yeah. As I say, when you think about what a lot of the stand staff at a Hillhead will be doing, they'll be collecting leads and business cards from people they've got to follow up with. They're not going to take half an hour out of their day to sit down and listen to you tell them why their seatbelt shit. That's not the way that's not what they're there for. That's not the way they're going to work. Dan says, why is it that truth does hurt? Why is that truth does hurt problem? So many operators only operated one brand and they haven't been around the block. But again, even if you have been around the block, you are cherry picking, aren't you? Well, I quite like that from a development. That bit from the Cat's lovely. JCB do that really well. Hitachi, quite good at that. Mechalak do that well. That's not how design works, is it? Really? See a difference on different brands. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe. Yes, do stay safe. Look after yourselves. I'll be back here 10 a.m. on Monday for yet more of the same. And I do think, because I'm struggling to move in this bloody office at the moment, I do think Monday is the time to start giving away some stuff. I've got a whole bunch of stuff here that needs to go in the post. So tune in then, and don't forget, we start our mini excavator World Cup on Monday with, who do we start with? I've already said this 3 or 4 times. Yes, Bobcat versus Hitachi. That's on Monday. Tune in. Let us have your thoughts. Andy Thornton says, have a great weekend all. Jim Turner says, I think it works in my favor all the time. My mind works to problem solve constantly on autopilot. It's weird but great. Well, long may it continue. Dan speaking double Dutch again. Well, if you think he's probably operating a dump truck and a mobile phone at the same time, I'm ready to make allowances. I remember being asked by my fellow railway operators from Liebherr about how they could improve their equipment with the chance of winning a model excavator. They took all of our ideas. Well, fair play to Liebherr. And Peter McKenna is laughing along with us. Fantastic stuff, people. It's been a fantastic show. I'm going to say very quickly, they've arrived a bit too late. JH Excavation have just joined us over on Instagram. Great to see you here, JH Excavation. But you've arrived. You've come in through the indoor just as I'm about to walk out the outdoor. But 10 a.m. UK time next week, I'll be here for yet more of the same. Sorry I didn't get to see you for any longer than a few minutes, but you're welcome whenever you're ready. Until next week, everybody, have a fine and splendid weekend, and I'll see you very, very soon. I'll leave you that from Gary. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. From Gary's lips to God's ears, have a fantastic weekend, guys. See you Monday.